Hey everyone, this is Damon with Low Budget Late Model. I'm back. It's been a long time. I've done a lot of stuff to the car over the course of the few months that it's been since I've talked to you last. I replaced some valve springs on the engine that were a little bit weak. So new brakes, rotors, rebuilt the calipers, new pads, new hub bearings and seals, just lots of new stuff that I've done to the car. And what we're doing today is we're scaling the car. Dirt late models and most dirt race cars and asphalt cars for that matter, circle track cars, need to be scaled. Every race car has a setup sheet that's associated with it, where the manufacturer gives you specifications about what the car should be when you take it out for the first time. And in our case, this older car, it's 01 Masters Built wide combo car, gave us specs on where the ride height should be, where the rear end should be, and the scale numbers. So what we do is we scale it. We put it on scales that measure the weights at each corner of the race car. We do so with the car in as close to racing trim as possible. That means in the seat, I've got about 210 pounds because that's what I weigh once I put my helmet and shoes and racing suit on, is about 210. In the back here, the car has about 10 gallons of gas in it. What's on top of it is the equivalent of about another 10 or 12 gallons. The gas can there only has about 2 gallons, and each brick weighs about 30. So that's about 10 or 12 gallons worth of gas in the location where that would be. So we did an initial scaling, and here's what the results are. This will give you an idea of what our race car weighs. So each corner is listed. Right front weighs about 425, right rear 610, left rear 650, left front 630. Now I will tell you that most modern guys also have things called spring smashers and lots of other fancy tools to determine the amount of load that's at each corner depending on the travel on that corner. So they might take and measure the travel, measure the right front with full travel, 3.5 or 4 inches of travel, and based on the spring rate and smashing the spring at that level, determine the load on that corner. That gives you an idea of really what's going on dynamically when the car is at attitude and in the corner. In our case, I don't have smash numbers for this, and I don't have a spring smasher. So we just go old school and scale it and go play around and see what the heck happens. So our setup sheets, I weighed this, of course, after I set the ride heights. All of the ride heights are exactly where they should be for this car. Caster camber toe, front end settings are all exactly where they should be for this car. The rear end is set where it should be. This car has about, when everything is set correctly, has about 1/4 inch of right rear trail, which means the right rear is slightly behind the left rear. That will help loosen the car usually. That's another tuning tool that we can talk about later as we start racing this and getting around to tuning it. But let's talk about the scale numbers. So as you can see, I've got the numbers here. If I add all this up, we're at about 2315, which is perfect. This car should weigh, if I was a full-blown super late model with an aluminum block engine, I'm supposed to weigh 2350. But I get a 50-pound weight break because I run a steel block. So I need to weigh around 2300, which is great because I'm at 2315. So I'm good. And they usually allow for, so many pounds, 5 pounds per gallon of burn off for however many laps the race is. So we'll be good. Not only that, we usually run around in the back of the pack and don't get scaled anyways at the end of the race, but you never know, anything could happen. So the next thing we looked at is our percentages. The setup sheets tell us that our car should be at about 55% rear percentage, which means 55% of the weight is at the back of the car, and we should be 55% left side percentage. So 55% of the weight of the car needs to be on the left side of the car. All of these things help the car turn and help the car handle through the corners. In our case, as you can see, if you add up the rear corner weights, you get about 1260. If I divide that by 2315, I'm going to get about 54.4. I can live with that. That's close enough. On the left side, we get about 1280, which means that we're about 55.2% left side weight. So our numbers are really close. Now, there's one other important number that we should talk about, and that's left rear bite. That is the difference between the left rear weight and the right rear weight. In our case, as you can see, we have about 40 pounds of left rear bite right now. Based on the setup sheets, that's not enough. Our setup sheets call for about 120 pounds of left rear bite. So we want the left rear to weigh about 120 pounds more than the right rear. Well, how the heck do I do that? Well, the beauty of a coil-over race car like a dirt late model is that we can move weight around for the corners, keep all the ride heights the same, keep the percentages the same, your left side and your rear percentage, we can keep those the same just by adjusting the coilover nut on each corner. So there's a procedure for doing this. In general, if you want to make sure that your ride heights stay the same and you want to move about 50 pounds of weight around so that you get 50 more pounds of left rear bite, we're going to put 2 rounds into the left rear coilover shock. We're going to take 2 rounds out of the right rear shock. We're going to put 1 round into the right front shock and take 1 round out of the left front shock. This will make it so that your ride heights will stay the same. Those will not move, but you will have adjusted and moved weight around so that your cross weight percentage or your left rear bite should be about 50 pounds different. We should have added 50 pounds in. The reason why we add 2 to the back or take out 2 to the back and add or remove 1 to the front is because of the spring rates. The rear springs are about 200. So the left rear is 200, the right rear is 225. So moving that by 2 rounds is equivalent to 1 round in the front, where our spring rates are 450 on the right front and 500 on the left front. So it's not perfect, but it gets you really close and really in the ballpark. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you our scales. We have old school scales. Someday I will purchase newfangled digital scales that you don't have to jack the car 8 inches off the ground in order to get it on the scale. But as you can see, we're at right around 600 on this. This is settled for a while, and these scales bleed off a little bit if they sit for a long time. Also notice I have this wood block underneath the tire. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, my garage isn't perfectly level, so in order to accommodate for that, I put the rear end up just a smidge. It's only a 3/8 of an inch block, so it lifts that up, which is about the difference that it needs to be in order for everything to be level. Now if we check out the left side, the left rear, you will see, a little dark over here, but hopefully you'll be able to see, you're at about 650. Like I said, we've got about 40 or 50 pounds in there. So now I'm going to go through the procedure of moving the weight around, which involves jacking the car up by the frame so that the coilover shocks release and don't have pressure on them. And I'm going to do the appropriate movements, shake the car down, and then I'll be back and show you what the new numbers are. Well, I'm back. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I've moved everything around, did exactly what I said. I went 3 turns instead of just 2. I went 3 on the left rear in, 3 on the right rear out, 1.5 into the right front, 1.5 out of the left front. And then check my ride heights, everything's exactly the same. Hasn't moved an inch or even 1/4 of an inch. Now let's take a look at these numbers. Notice that now sits at 575, 580. Again, these are not fancy digital scales. These are old school scales. Not a whole lot of precision there. There's some, but it's not super precise. Over here, you'll see that guy is darn near at 680. So we have exactly what we want. About 100 pounds of left rear bite. Notice that the numbers still add up the same. If you add up your left side numbers, within 5 pounds, you're the same as you were before. You're at about 1280 on the left side. If you add up the rear numbers, you're at 1260. You're exactly where you were before. So again, we moved weight around, but we didn't change our percentages. The only way to physically change percentages is to actually physically move weight in the car. Take weight out of the driver, remove weight from the gas tank, or you can add lead. You can add lead to the car to make it weigh different amounts in different spots, which is another tuning device that we have available to us. So here we go. That gives you an idea of how this works. Hopefully that was helpful. And before long, we'll be putting this guy on the ground and going to the races. Talk to you soon.